What's up, y'all? I'm back with the Biz Report, and today I decided to pick a simple topic, but I think it's some information that's much needed. I'm deciding to talk about the 360 deal versus the independent deal. Basically, a choice that all artists get is deciding should they go independent or should they go digital. Me personally, I believe the day a person decides to take rap seriously, you're independent. Now, is a second choice with independent is deciding if you want to sell music. And that's very important because I think some of the people that's thinking they're going independent is confusing it. So if a guy come to me and say, yo, I'm independent and I'm working on this album, basically I'm working on this mixtape. It's like you gotta prepare the mixtape to sell to be considered independent because there's no proof of sales if everybody's giving it away. So you got to establish some type of proof of sale. You know what I mean? That's the most important thing that you could do when you go independent. Or the amount of CDs that you give out is so overwhelming based on the amount of fan participation. Like if your CDs is everywhere, they killing the clubs and everybody's riding around banging it. That means that the way that you gave your CDs out, your promo campaign was strong enough to turn into real fans, and real fans translate to position just as well as if you go independent and you collect the sales and you have proof that you sold 50,000 units independent. That makes better your position in terms of forcing a deal or asking for a deal. All right, now the 360 deal, which I call a circle. That's basically what the name is made about, and I take it as a way that they can make money off the full circle of your career, whether it be your music, whether it be merchandise, or whether it be other business situations that you get yourself into. It's an automatic agreement from the beginning stating that they will receive profit off other things that you do even before we even do it. And the reason why 360 deals come into play, and I'm gonna give you a short version. The idea came from Hollywood in the 50s and 60s, and after black exploitation shook up the market in terms of people wanting to get budget, which was balancing it out, and then what people started seeing was big major companies will give the money to some of these smaller companies to do movies, and they will figure out a way to develop a market on their own and build, because they wasn't putting up no overhead. They was just taking proceeds from one entity, putting it into their entity and building up other opportunities to make money. And it kind of like slowly went on. So with the music business, it took a little longer to catch on. But when some of the subsidiaries came aboard, and they was branding and marketing artists, the labels started noticing that, people like Dame Dash in particular, who somebody who I regard as one of the most respected brains in hip hop, he understood that concept and he did it all too well. He was able to take a budget from a label and branch that off and turn that into movies, clothing lines, even giving that to people that was under him. And he was bringing in so much income from that, he was actually becoming sort of like competition to the parent company. And that's too much power for an independent person to have in all the entities in terms of other than music. That's too much power for a person to have in what he's making in movies and what he's making in clothing and what he's making in all these other entities. They figure if we give you $1 million to make an album and you branch off and make 100 million in other things, they feel as though they need to be a part of it. So what they did was they broke the whole industry down and rebuilt it in a way where if you get signed today, it's not as many people working for your project, and it's not a lot of money being spent on your project. So most 360 deals that's really good, if you can say some of them are good, are being given to people who position themselves to be able to generate the kind of income where it can be balanced out. You know, so to me, a great 360 deal would be with Madonna or even Jay-Z signed with Live Nation, because they gave them so much money up front and then positioned them with a guarantee that they will be able to do shows with a certain level of capacity and get behind them on certain level of things that they can generate the money. Meaning, if the game is going to change, if you're going to play it, it's not like the artist is really in a position to say we're going to change the industry. No, the industry decided to change. And if you're going to have to play it, I think people like Jay-Z, Madonna, as well as all the rock bands that was doing it years ago before rappers was even getting down on Live Nation. But now another guy that might not have as much prestige or much power to sell music or product. Now you get a 360 deal and you don't get no advance. It might not be as smart for you if you don't get no advance to position your product, and they're basing it off the position that you already invested in, which you don't really receive the money back for all the work that you put in. And then once you sign a 360 deal, that's automatically giving them a piece of everything that you do, even some of the stuff that you do before you even do it. So when you decide what kind of deal you going to sign, you got to weigh out your options and take a realistic picture at a view at your picture and see, because some people get blinded by a lot of this internet success and think they're really in a position to sell records. So they sign a 360 deal, give up all this ownership, and never really built a true fan base. So now all they did is stuck themselves. So now if they come up with a big record, no company can come in and grab you based on a big record because you already have a 360 deal. They wasn't losing money because they didn't add manpower, they didn't add budget, they didn't add a lot of these things to your project in order for them to have to push you to work to get their money back. They just locked you down in a contract. Now, independent. So people must understand what independent is. Independent don't just mean you're doing it on your own. It's a formula to being able to position yourself to get real entertainment business awareness, getting that real look, getting real companies to look at what you're doing and say, hey, we got to merge with this guy, because if we don't, he's going to be snatching the crumbs that's falling off our cake, and we ain't going to have that. You know, so when you build and you mount independent, you must start with a movement. And the movement must touch your local people. Once your movement touch local people, you must be able to, when I say look at the picture of who you really are, look at that picture. Don't be scared. Don't fake your own self. Look at your realistic YouTube views. Look at your position at radio. Look to see what is you or you're not getting BDS. And BDS is a mechanism that counts the spins on radio. See if you really getting yourself in position and compare it to some of the other guys that's getting deals and what they're doing in their market. Don't fake yourself out and go in there with these high expectations and then get sad when they don't agree to the deal that you asked for, because that's what's going to happen. So slow down. So firstly, your project, you got to give your project an opportunity to grow. So you must pre-build and you must do pre-production on your promo campaign. Build up, create a build so you can create some people to go into whatever stores is left on your website and all these different places to make a first, not even week like the big artists do, make a big impact the first month. Sell 12, 15, 20,000 the first 3 weeks, and that shows an impact to other bigger businesses that looking at smaller business to merge with to see a profit in them. And that also proves that you have real people buying what you're doing. That's if you're going the independent route. So understand what a digital aggregator is. Understand all of these systems that's put in place for you to be able to sell your music. Understand that when you do your whole album and you spend all this money and you break your neck to put it on that piff, you're not necessarily benefiting your position unless your album is so huge and got so much of a demand that you're making some kind of numbers on that piff that's so overwhelming that it's like, damn. If you're not, you're basically giving your new product to that piff, and that piff is selling advertisement time. And that's not necessarily helping you. That's the key. Now, that's not to say that for the people, some people that put their stuff on there is not benefiting them. It's just a matter of weighing out your options before you set your movement in motion. That's all. Just have a realistic view of your picture before you decide to attack, because you can falsely attack and you can crumble your movement. You know, like I always tell, with the project I'm working with Mont Brown, we don't get radio play. So whatever rep or whatever you heard about him has basically been from shows or just hitting the street with all of this promo. And that's an angle. It's slow and it's a little harder. But if you don't got no other options, that's the angle that you must take. And especially if you want to sell independent music. Now, I believe Mont Brown is a marketing darling that was built just to get the attention of, big companies, as well as regular people that's interested in basic good old music. Not trying to be too street, not trying to go too hard at mixtapes, because if you go too hard at mixtapes in order to blow, to me, you have to give your music away to all these digital aggregators and these websites just to position yourself enough to get a buzz. And some of these buzz translate into false buzz. And if that's the case, then you're spending a whole lot of money without a know-how or option to get your money back, which is not smart. So this what I'm saying as far as the difference between a 360 deal and an independent deal is just a way to scratch the surface and to start dialogue, because this is a subject that's real vast and real huge, and a lot of what I'm saying is opinionated in my view on it, but most of it is backed by official industry facts. Now, that's the beauty of this business. You get the option to take what the industry sets as a rule, and you be able to fluctuate it in a way to benefit you. So all people that's out here, just weigh out your options and understand what you got. If you got an R&B singer, if you got a rapper, if you got a DJ, or if you want to just do PR work, understand what you got. Don't fake yourself out with false perception. Don't believe what ain't actually there to make you believe that you bigger than you are. That's what's wrong with Philly. We got a whole bunch of people that's not selling records, that's not big at all. Big in the aspects of what makes you big. You know what I mean? Reputation don't mean nothing if the people that's talking about you ain't going in the stores buying your record, or going online downloading your music, or if you put something in Black and Nobel and you put something in a couple of these other mom and pop stores that still exist, they should be running off the racks. Now if it is, I'm not knocking your project. I'm saying sometimes you got to put more effort in promoting and position it right. That's why when you got a project, it's not that, okay, I want to go get me a manager and then I'm going to tell him what I want done and then he go do it. No. Yeah, you can find somebody to do that, but if you have somebody that has knowledge of the game, first you have to bring something that's worthy of managing. And then once you get that established, then you got to see the plan. And to correctly do a plan, it costs. So the world of grabbing your mans in them and making them your manager for free, hoping to get a check in the long run, that's killing Philly people artists' career. Now, if you get somebody and instead of spending all your money on all the other things that don't really matter, it's better to find somebody that's going to guide your career in the right way and pay him, so he can be able to do what he need to do and make a living off what he's selling. Just like you're trying to make a living off what you're selling, is that combined effort that turns a project into reality. All right, now back to the subject. This is the Biz Report, and today's Biz Report is on 360 deals and independent deal. And the dialogue that comes with beginning the process of understanding it. So I didn't want to get too deep, because like I said, I don't just give information, I give it in layman's term. I speak in a language and a subject matter that's able for the people that's listening to digest it. I'm not here with a bunch of lawyers. I'm here with my folks. I'm here with people that I want to get smarter, because like I say, if you get smarter, I can get richer. I'm signing off. This is the Biz Report 360 deal versus the independent deal.